Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ears up in depth. I tell you, Jeremy, we got news. I got news for you. Just to spoil it right now, we're talking about the naked guy. We're talking about the naked guy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they caught you, honestly. I thought you were faster than that.
I don't have abs like that. Are you kidding me?
I saw that. I saw this dude. I don't know if he's posing or whatever, but he's like out in public and he just has these abs. I'm like, wow. First of all, kudos to you. If I had abs like that, I might show them off too, but I don't know if I would, run rampant through Disney World naked.
Well, I was going to say, it's nice because a lot of times when people do expose themselves, it's quite awful. Yeah. And I was like, well, you know what? At least this guy takes care of himself. Yeah. When I used to go to like a public gym and you'd go to the locker rooms.
Yeah.
And inevitably, all of the men that would be just out and proud with powdering and blow drying their hair for hours. They weren't the guys that who had clearly spent any time in the gym. I don't know what they've been doing.
Yes.
So they're in there and I'm like, what is happening here? And of course, anyone who's like normal and fit and thin, like doing that, at least reasonably attractive, they're in a towel and putting their clothes on as fast as possible. Yes, that's normal. I couldn't, the hair, the worst was the combo powder blow dry guy, because that's everywhere.
Oh, God.
It's just going everywhere.
You know what? I wonder if it's an age thing, because as you get older, you care less. And it's almost like a rite of passage for every new guy in the locker room. Like, I'm 68, you're going to see my hairy butt. Like, that's it. I don't even care anymore.
It definitely was a generational thing. You could tell that as you got older,
there's a lack of respect.
The more powder you needed.
Yeah.
2, the longer you blow dried your hair. And 3, the longer you left yourself out naked.
Yeah, it's a show a lack of respect. Boomers are disrespectful people, is what you're saying.
This is what, I am 100% on board with what you say, because you shouldn't dress for yourself or your own company. You dress as a form of respect to the people around you.
Yes, that's correct. I tell my wife all the time, how does this look? And she goes, it's fine. I said, but no, be honest, because you have to look at me. I don't. I put these clothes on, I look in the mirror real fast, and then that's it. For the rest of the day, I have no idea what I actually look like. I don't have to, my visage is not cast upon my corneas like it is for you. So it's up to you to tell me, do I have ear hair poking out? Am I a disgusting mess behind my head, like with my hair? Do you need to trim me up? Do I need, what's going on? Are my pants too tight? Right. What's going on?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, anyway, I saw that. I was happy that at least he was in somewhat good shape, but I debated. I'm like, I don't want to talk about this because I don't want to amplify this guy. Like, he's already, people are doing it for attention and everyone on Twitter is talking. And I was like, you know what? I'm not. But then you said you were going to talk about it. And I thought, well,
I got to.
This is our job.
Yes, this is our job. I have to. So I'll talk about it in a little bit, maybe after the break. I have some TikTok videos, Jeremy's favorite source of videos, because a lot of people have caught this man before, during, and after.
Oh, yes.
So it's, no pun intended, it's out there. You know what I mean? So we'll definitely be chatting about that. But before that, I want to talk to you, Jeremy, about rapid temperature drops closing Disney's Blizzard Beach for 2 days this week. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I have heard about that. That happens every year.
The only reason I was turned on to this, I had no idea. And I was flipping through the news. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And then I saw from Disney Dining, and you can hear these Disney Dining, which is owned by, so Disney Dining, How to Disney, Inside the Magic, they're all the same company, right? And you can tell because their headlines are the exact same as every other. It's just it's awful. It is always clickbaity or whatever, but this has made it seem like, and I don't have the headline up because I just don't care anymore. It made it seem like this one park will close immediately. Guests distraught, or you know what I mean? It made it seem like it was evacuated and Disney's closing this down. And that's it. They're closed. They're shutting the gates. It's never going to open. It was very apocalyptic sounding, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did my little trick. I copied their headline and I Googled it into another window, another tab, and it came right up that Blizzard Beach is going to be closed on November 28th and 29th due to low temperatures arriving in Central Florida. Lows for Tuesday and Wednesday are in the 40s, rising only to highs in the upper 50s as another cold front moves through the area. I didn't know that you guys got that low.
Oh, yes. It's actually a bit early for it to happen. Usually this is like late, like mid-January to mid-Feb weather.
Wow.
Like January gets this cold, and early Feb. But because the story that always happens, and inevitably every year, is the lizards freeze in the trees and fall out, and everyone thinks that it's raining dead lizards.
That's right. I forgot.
Because they can't. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
So it does. Yeah.
That is wild to me. I guess, it blew my mind. And it's also weird that low 50s. I mean, I would imagine that it's sort of chilly there at night anyway. What are you going to Blizzard Beach or whatever it is on your Disney vacation in November? That seems wild to me. That seems dangerous and brazen.
No. Yeah, in fact, Disney runs 2 water parks during most of the year because there's also Typhoon Lagoon. Only one is ever open throughout winter so that they aren't actually closing 2. But
wow.
No, you wouldn't go. In fact, I remember last year I spent Christmas Day in Epcot with friend of the show Brad.
Ooh.
And we were bundled up. I had a winter hat on and a heavy coat. It was freezing.
That's awesome to me, man. I don't know why.
I love it. It's my favorite thing.
On the flip side of that, Orange County, Florida, had 4 excessive heat advisories, all in mid-August. This is news just coming out with the numbers of this kind of stuff. But the heat index hit 113 degrees and more. So one person passed out in Toy Story Land. Another fainted at Liberty Square, while someone else collapsed at the Disney Springs Rainforest Cafe. Others complained of not feeling well and being dizzy. Disney paramedics rushed to nearly 40 medical calls across the property for overheated Disney guests and took 6 people to the hospital during these 4 days in August. Like much of Florida, the most magical place isn't immune from the effects of climate change and the planet's rising temperatures. Throughout the entire summer, Disney World paramedics received 441 calls for guests' heat-related medical issues, which is 22% more than last summer and more than double from 5 years ago.
My word.
Yeah, that's wild to me. I don't know why. One person at Epcot's Mexico Pavilion, quote, got overheated, began seeing spots on the 4th of July. Just so dehydrated and hot that you're seeing spots, man. God.
Yeah, I think they might have had one too many drinks in the tequila cave.
Yeah, I wonder what that. Yeah, it's probably it. It's being hunkered down like a bear in hibernation in that friggin' tequila cave, crushing little shots, doing all the stuff, pretending you know how to taste tequila, and it's dark and it's cozy and it's relatively cool in there. And then you step out into the blazing July sun. You're dehydrated. You haven't stood up in 4 hours because you're drinking. And then you can't see. You're blinded. You see spots because you looked at the sun going, what is that fiery ball in the sky? Still there. And you pass out.
Well, you get out of that thing and it is so bright because you have been in there. And it's like your rods and cones are all messed up. Yeah. You're just like, wow, what's going on?
I'm always saying that. That's the one thing I regret not being able to do when we went to Disney World in 2015, I think it was. We didn't get to go do the tequila cave because I didn't really know it was there. And it was so busy and packed. I'm like, I don't care that much, but I wanted to, experience the thing.
Yeah. I want to make also just an addition to your cold temperature story. In addition to that, I read that the Moana Journey of Water walkthrough that recently opened at Epcot has been running warm temperature water through the interactive fountains.
What?
Because of the cold temperatures outside. So the water changes temperature.
Well, why? I don't understand. Why?
Because it's cold out, so you don't want to go in and play around in colder water. So
it's
they're
like a play
heating up the water.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize it was a play
interactive.
Thing.
So you put your hands through and it makes noise. Like you conduct the water, so you can get wet in there.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Have you done it yet? Have you done that Moana thing? You said you're going to.
I know, but I haven't been back to Epcot since.
Man, I saw a video of it. It honestly. It was like one part. You have, Tafiti there and it's a little pond or whatever. And it just looks like a rich person's pool. It didn't really, I was like, oh, that's cool.
It totally looks, that's exactly what it is.
Bob Iger's backyard. It was just like, oh, this is neat, I guess. I don't know. A bunch of foliage with different lights and water and a statue. All right.
It looks like the queue for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Like there's water things you play with in there too. I am going to Epcot on December 19th. That's confirmed. That will be my next trip. So I will report back.
All right,
then.
everyone, go find and stalk Jeremy, please.
I'll be in the tequila cave screwing up my rods and cones.
They should have like a flight of tequila and call it the rods and cones.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Jeremy. What do you got?
Oh, my first story already. Yeah. Okay. Online, this lady is taking a beating because she was on a ride caught breastfeeding.
Go ahead, please.
A Pittsburgh, PA woman was visiting Walt Disney World recently with her baby daughter and others in her family when she was caught mid-ride breastfeeding the 1-year-old child. She was on the Frozen Ever After ride at Epcot when the baby began to tug at her shirt, indicating that she wanted to feed. Yeah. I don't know what you call it. It's not
Suckle
really
from the breast of motherhood. Yeah. Ingest fluids from glandular excretion ports.
Good.
Okay.
But as the ride vehicle approached the final large drop in the ride, suddenly she noticed the flash from the on-ride camera. And as she says, as soon as I saw the flash, I was like, oh no, I think all of these people have a picture of me breastfeeding my baby on this ride.
Oh no.
Yeah, oh no.
I love your impression of her. Oh no.
Oh, rat.
That sucks.
So her immediate reaction was to send the photo to other people in her family, including her cousin Joe Goddard, who runs a women's lifestyle website called Cup of Joe, and asked her if she could post the pic on the site's Instagram page. So she had a quick change of heart. She went from, oh no, to, here, do you want to put this on your women's lifestyle Instagram
She went
page?
from, oh no, to, hey, Joe. I'm learning from the best. I don't understand. I thought that. So she was concerned that the Disney people had a picture of her breast with a baby attached to it. So,
Well, the Disney people and every other person in that ride car.
So it took a picture. So the people who scanned for the photos didn't catch it, I guess, because isn't like an actual cast member checking for, people flashing or doing inappropriate things and they delete those from the thing?
I guess they let it go?
Yeah. Huh. Was there a lot of her, not to be, too indelicate, but was there a lot of breast material showing, or was it not a lot? Like, could you tell what it is? You know what I mean? Did you see the picture? You have it?
I'll put it this way. I've seen more discreet breastfeeding in my past than what I saw in that picture.
I suddenly want to know about your past. I'm just kidding.
Well, you see people like occasionally.
It just sounded way more like secretive than it needed to be.
No, I just mean like I've seen other women breastfeed with more discretion, but still do it in public than that. But there was no nippage, if that's what you're
No, of course not. Well, because the baby's on there. I just wonder, like, if there was like a cover, and I get it from the standpoint of the mother having a kid myself, and being around that. It's like the kid's hungry. What are you going to do? Either the kid's going to eat now, and you risk seeing like a majority of a breast, or the kid's going to start crying on the ride. Which would you rather have? You know what I mean? Someone who you don't even know behind you or in front of you breastfeeding, and you have no idea what's going on until she posts it on her friend's lifestyle blog, or you get a crying baby.
Yeah. Well, the Cup of Joe website posted the pic with the quote, "My cousin being an absolute mom on this Disney ride."
I tell you, there is nothing that there's a thing, trending thing going on, I guess, red flags. What gives you the ick? And it's these people interviewing women about like, what gives you ick about guys? But nobody does it the reverse, like that kind of stuff that Mama Bear or that the mom lifestyle branding kind of thing, and the cursive live, laugh, love stuff where it's like, it just, that stuff, I know it doesn't hit for me. It's a little cringy, and like being an absolute mom. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I wonder if mothers specifically have a feeling that they need to have motherhood be empowering more than it is, or if it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand that side of things, so I just kind of let it go. But it seems very odd, like that you feel like you have to empower being a mom.
I can't. I'm so removed from this. My guess, as the casual observer, is that there's probably some women who might be worried that because it's sort of like women's lib is about going out and it's not all about having a family and doing all this. And sort of that, does that make the people who are moms feel left behind and say like we're lesser or something? And so I think there's like well, no, this is good too. That would be my guess. I don't really know. I don't have any experience in this at all. I could ask my mom.
I see the picture now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know. I guess I don't have any fight in the game. I don't really care.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of exposed breast. And look, I don't know. I think maybe why it shocks me is that like I don't see womanhood or breastfeeding as like such a thing where people need to be empowered about it. It's just, to me, it's like a point of fact. Like you need to feed your kid. Yeah, do it. You're in a dark ride. Of course, you didn't expect the camera. Cool. You were going to be done by the time the thing was over. It doesn't bother me. So I think that kind of attitude about like absolute mama bear or whatever seems a little like, okay, just calm down. Okay, just relax. I'm not picking on you. You don't need to throw it in my face.
Well, she did receive some negative pushback. One person said, quote, not to be a stick in the mud, but this seems kind of dangerous. Am I overestimating the thrill level on this ride? It's not that thrilling. The rest of the adults seem to be clinging on pretty tight, which is true. In that picture, everyone is like sort of bracing for impact. I don't know if that makes it less safe that you're feeding. She's still holding the child, which she would have been anyway. It's not.
She just attaches it and spins it like like an airplane propeller.
Someone else said, I don't have anything against feeding your baby in public, and I actually encourage women to do it. But some people, like your cousin, just want to be the center of attention. And actually, I do think this person has sort of hit on something because it's like, well, if you were worried about this being seen, why did you then go send it to a public? Like you didn't even just post it on your own Instagram profile, which may or may not be private, but you sent it to a lifestyle profile. Like you wanted this out there.
I feel like it's a little bit maybe of main character syndrome where it's like, oh my gosh, people are going to take this picture and then repost it. And then I'm going to be famous on the internet. So I need to get ahead of this. I need to get ahead of it. I need to push the narrative for, it's like that kind of A-list celebrity PR move that you would do. Like I'm publishing the photos of me being indecent first. Gotcha, TMZ.
Well, people did come into her defense. They said, love it, taking care of that baby in every circumstance. Someone else said, this might be the best breastfeeding photo ever. I mean, we're ranking that.
Yeah. I mean, I will say on the pantheon of breastfeeding, that's a pretty cool thing for that baby to then grow up and look back and like, yep, I was on that ride.
And finally, someone else said, this is what a hero looks like, which...
Stop it. See, this is what I'm saying.
I understand feeling compelled to defend her trying to keep her baby from crying in a ride. But I think we are casting a bit of a wide net with the heroism term when it just applies to literally breastfeeding a kid. The firefighters who marched up the stairs of World Trade Center on 9/11, absolute heroes. They are not in the same class as someone who's feeding a kid. Like,
I don't know. I mean, how many of them were also breastfeeding at the time? We don't know that.
It would have been really difficult.
So, yeah, exactly. Breastfeeding is hard, Jeremy.
She defended herself, stating, I guess if you look at this picture, it might look like it is an intense ride, but it's a boat ride. There are no seatbelts. It's a very nice, relaxing ride, except that there is a drop that you don't see coming because it's dark.
Yep.
So, I don't know. She sort of, there's a big drop that you don't see coming that might add to the danger. It's not just a leisurely boat ride. And that's when the photo was taken. So, I guess she didn't, I mean, if you're at the drop, the ride's almost over. And by the way, I looked it up. The duration of this ride is 5 minutes. So it's not like for very long. It's a very short ride. I'm surprised it's even 5, actually.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I was sitting there and like Taryn just starts breastfeeding Alice. I mean, not now, obviously, because she's 5.
Yeah, well, you might have other problems.
I don't know. I feel like I would have been like, yeah, can you just... I think she could wait. I think she can wait. There's breastfeeding stations, which, by the way, at least in Disneyland, are awesome. Go to the breastfeeding stations. You know, those are great. They're themed, or at least they're like stylized a little bit, and it's not just like an office room or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. I liked going there with feed Alice. I'm like, yeah, I'll feed her. I'll feed her at the thing. You know, it's a nice, quiet place. That's where you should go. But you do on the right. I don't know. I just don't care. Who cares?
I also don't know, like, what's the time buffer? Like, I don't know how much time you've got from when they start tugging at your shirt to when you really have to go. Like,
you could probably,
like for me, like if I have to pee, sometimes I have no time and sometimes I can ride it out for a while. I don't know what the time frame is before you get absolute meltdown mode.
I like how your bladder is already like a 68-year-old man. Like, I don't know when it's going to come out, but it's going to. I mean, it depends on the baby and depends on the situation. Depends on how long the baby has been tugging at her. I mean, maybe the baby was tugging in line and then she gets on the boat and she goes, okay, but feeding can sometimes take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I think it's very, brave of this woman, and she knows her kid better than anybody else does. So she knows how long it's going to take. But I also feel like, yeah, she probably could have soothed the kid a little bit with the pacifier, like knuckle, you put in there just to get off the ride. Then you can be more comfortable as a mom as well.
You should talk to my mom. I wasn't breastfed.
Oh, well.
You learn new things on this show every day.
But yeah,
back then I think it wasn't done. In the early 80s, it was like my mom said, she's like, it's not a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
And my sister was born 3 years later and she was breastfed.
Of course.
No.
Well, hey, things change. But yeah, it is weird that people are, regardless, saying you shouldn't be breastfeeding. I don't know. Just feed the kid. Who cares? Doesn't matter. No one has an opinion on it. But I I go back and forth with these stories that you pick sometimes, Jeremy, because on the other hand, she put it out there, and I think it's weird that she put it out there because it's not the fact that she's breastfeeding on a ride. It's that she put it out there to advertise the fact that she was doing it. That's weird to me. That's the weird part. The breastfeeding, I don't care about. Do whatever you want. It's natural. Who cares?
Also, if you're putting something out on social media, and not only on your own social media profile, by the way, but you have now distributed this deliberately to something that presumably has quite a wide reach, or wider than your personal account.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to deal with all of the pushback, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. That's what you did. You put it on social media. You could have kept it quiet or quieter.
Agreed. Which is why I don't read our own reviews, Jeremy.
Don't worry, I've got it covered. I've decided you are no longer a Reddit bro. You are a TikTok bro.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that. All right, Jared, let's talk about not the Disney Wish, but the movie Wish from Disney that released last week. And, the lead up to it in the press, people were like, oh, yeah, Wish is going to be great. And there was a big push from the Disney company. But the reality struck the Disney company last week, and the box office was not very kind to Wish. Apparently, it fizzled, being outshone by Napoleon and Hunger Games. Which is very funny to me. I don't know why. Wish is the studio's newest animated feature and was projected to land on top of box office charts over the Thanksgiving holiday. Instead, ticket sales fell short of expectations with a weak $19.5 million over the traditional weekend and $31.7 million over the 5 days. And the film tumbled to third place behind the Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and Ridley Scott's historic epic, Napoleon. Heading into the weekend, the musical fable Wish was projected to earn $35 million and $45 million to $50 million in its first 5 days of release. So you're short by, $20 million or something like that. Ticket sales weren't as catastrophic as 2022's Strange World, which is only $12 million over the weekend. But it didn't come anywhere close to Encanto, which opened to $40.3 million over its first 5 days. And that was during the peak of, or not the peak, because there's always a new peak now, but the first 5 days when COVID was keeping families at home. Wish also added $17.3 million at the international box office. And anyway, blah, blah, blah. It's not really doing well. And I didn't know a whole lot about it still. But it seems like it's Disney's sort of foray into a cinematic universe. Do you know anything about Wish, about this movie, or what goes on during it?
No, I can't figure it out. I've seen trailers for it, and this was this is kind of my reason for why I think it might not be doing well. Like, it just seems very ambiguous. It's called Wish. And then you look and there's like a star and a goat. And I'm like, if I think about the movies that were really successful for Disney, The Little Mermaid, okay, it's quite obvious. I've got a sense of the place you're taking me, with that movie. I see there's a mermaid, there's the sea witch. You can see that in the trailer. The Lion King, got it. Beauty and the Beast, got it. Pocahontas, got it. I know what you're going to tell me. I have a general gist of what I might be seeing.
Right.
What is Wish?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you asked, Jeremy, because it's about a land that the king is nervous about change or something like that. So he controls everyone's wishes. And so the main character somehow is able to break free and cast a wish upon a star and make all her dreams come true or something like that. What's wrong with Wish? This is from Forbes. They say many, many things, including a viral clip that portrayed the central hero as kind of dumb and its villain as kind of right. But the most egregious thing may be how the film ends, probably one of the worst endings to any classic Disney animated movie. By the end of the film, this is a spoiler, by the way, if you're going to watch it. By the end of the film, we have Asha, who's the main character, wishing on a star, which becomes the literal star that is wished on in Pinocchio. King Magnifico which is the villain in Wish, appears to become the magic mirror from Snow White. There are Tangled, Pocahontas, Bambi, and Peter Pan cameos or references. There are strong indications that Asha will eventually become the wish-granting fairy godmother in Cinderella.
Oh.
The director, so it's like everything exists in one universe, and they're pulling from other movies to kind of bind this rubber band ball of things that don't need to be going together. And then it's origin stories for all of the Disney movies.
It's almost like this is the root of the Disney tree, right, and everything branches from this.
Right. Which is
okay.
Yeah, it's odd. The directors of the film said they literally put every Disney film on a board and decided which references to throw into the film. That's such a great way to write a movie. Isn't that cool? That's so awesome. Like, here's all of the this is what we talk about on the show all the time. And it's not just us. In case you want to leave me a bad review on iTunes or whatever, go on any sort of like internet site that deals with Disney stuff. This is what people are talking about. There's too much of this recycled content that people don't want. People do not want this kind of content, and it shows. I think part of the box office slump is because people are waiting for streaming, because they already paid $10 a month for Disney Plus. Just wait for it to come on Disney Plus. I'm not going to the movies for this. I'm going to be getting it soon. But also, It's because I don't think it's interesting. No one cares. This is from the directors. They say, we talk about making an original story with original songs, making sure that was solid before we added all these layers. But now there's over 100 nods to other films. So they say that they have an original story that was solid. Then they just tacked everything on top of it to the point where the star is now the star that Pinocchio wished. Like, where did that? Why? It seems like, oh, hey, we like this really cool story about a king who controls all the wishes, and this girl breaks free and somehow manages to overcome. Great. How can we ruin that? I know. Link this to every other story we've ever made in this company. Perfect. That sounds great. Let's water down all the original content we can with stuff like this.
Right. And none of that can be done naturally.
No, it's all going to seem forced or like, oh my God, that, even if it's done well, it's just going to be an eye roll from everybody. I mean, most people. This is Disney Animation Studios CCO Jennifer Lee speaking to Games Radar. She says, quote, I think the concept of a Disney multiverse has come up so many times from people, just all the little hints like Rapunzel and Frozen and things like that. That's her quote. So what they did, admittedly, they took the small, tiny little details that people like to look for, the Easter eggs in films, and they said, let's just combine all those together and really hit everybody over the head with these. Then they'll love it even more. The article goes on, the point is that Wish is not subtle at all, and few critics who saw the film were not wild about that concept. While this may not be building to some sort of a Disney Avengers versus Disney villains concept in the future, At least, certainly not after Wish's disastrous box office performance. It's one of the many things that seem to have gone wrong with the film. Wish is yet another example of Disney having an incredibly rough year. Anyway, whatever. That's it. I'm done. That's right. This all misses the point.
The thing that I sort of didn't really love was it looks weird to me. It doesn't look like animation I'm used to, or at least animation that I expect to see from Disney. It seems to be in some sort of different style, and it almost looks like the way I see it, it just kind of looks cheap. Like, I don't know what it just has a look that just is off to me. And I don't know how, I can't quite put my finger on it, but when I saw the trailers, it just looked a little off. I will say that on Rotten Tomatoes, while it is not getting very good reviews from critics at 49%, it does have an 81% audience score. So the people who are going to see it, I guess, seem to generally be liking it.
Interesting. Well, good for them. I'm glad that they enjoy things.
It's had a pretty severe, apparently it's people who are willing to go on there and make reviews. And that might not be a representative sample of the public because the numbers aren't bearing that out. The drop off was really significant. And, if you look at a movie like Frozen was still number one at the box office after 7 weeks. And it was a powerhouse that it had its initial post-Thanksgiving fall off, and then it started to come back up again and held number one at least through 7 weeks, I believe. So,
super wild. Yeah. And, not everything can replicate that, of course. But to have such a bad return on Thanksgiving, when more people are going to the movie theaters than have been in the past 3 or 4 years, to see that is like, ooh, that's gotta hurt. That's really gotta feel bad.
Yeah.
Only in Iger's reign, his tenure. This is what we're getting. I don't know.
Yeah, well, this was probably put together. I mean, this didn't come together in the last year. This is Chapek project.
You don't know that. No, stop it. It was probably an Iger project, and then Chapek was going to be the hero and fix it. And then Iger said, "Don't touch my baby," and then he got fired again.
I have no idea what the timelines are on these. It very well could have been.
It's probably 5 years. That's my thought for everything from any decision within the company. I just give an automatic. That was probably greenlit 5 years ago, whatever it is.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. Interestingly, because I drew the parallel to Frozen. I think Frozen opened against a Hunger Games iteration as well.
Probably. I love Hollywood so much that we're just every 10 years we're back on the same cycle of pitting movies against. Like, can we just let franchises breathe? Can we just go? Like, this was cool. One thing, and I'll take a break, but I saw an interview with Tim Burton, and he was talking about Nightmare Before Christmas sequels or prequels because he asked about that a lot, and he's like, literally never. I will never do one of those because it doesn't need it.
Yeah.
The story was there. I am not interested in retelling the story. I'm not interested in continuing the story. The story was fine on its own. And I really, really respect that because not everybody's going to turn down a fat check. I mean, that with all of the merch that Disney is, all the money Disney's making off the merch, the super interest in that movie, it feels a lot like Star Wars kind of did, where it was like, it's obviously not that big, but it's a very culturally important thing for, nerds and Halloween and Christmas and stuff. It's everywhere in the parks. It's just getting bigger and bigger. The draw is there. I'm sure Disney's really putting pressure on him to be like, let's go. We got to do something. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. Doesn't need it. It would ruin that franchise. It would ruin that story.
You know who else never wanted to make a sequel and said so publicly?
Who?
Walt Disney.
That's right. Well, you know what? What would Walt do? But only if it reinforces what we want to do.
No, because you and I had this debate. You can change whatever Walt. You can change it now. Well, you can make it Walt. We don't have to listen to what Walt said because he would have changed his mind, according to you.
He would have changed his mind. None of Walt's quotes matter.
So it's great that we have sequels. I'm glad.
Well, I think more to the point is, don't bring out Walt quotes to justify what you're doing. Not that that's what you did, but I'm talking about the company.
What if Tim Burton changes his mind? Or when he dies, can we say that he changed his mind?
I don't know. Can we? Should we?
I don't know.
Let's take a break, Jeremy. We're going to come right back. We're going to do a little bit more Disney news. We're going to cover The Naked Man We're going to do some other stuff. It'll be a fun time, whatever Jeremy has up his sleeve. So hang on, everyone. It's Ears Up In Depth. We'll be right back.
Back to the newsroom on In Depth.
All right. Thanks for hanging on, everybody. All right, Jared, what should we do? Should we talk about the naked man yet or not yet? Up to you.
Naked man.
Naked man. Naked. Why do I feel like that chant has been sung more than once? Naked man. Naked man.
Or streaker. Maybe he's just a streaker.
Well, it's weird. Okay, so here we go. Man arrested after stripping down at Disneyland. It's a Small World. Is it Disneyland? Oh my God. I thought it was Disney World this whole time.
No.
Oh my goodness. I love this story even more. Anaheim police were called to Disneyland Sunday when a 26-year-old man stripped down. This is yesterday. Stripped down and began climbing through the It's a Small World attraction. Parkgoers say Disney cast members briefly stopped the ride and helped keep the situation calm. Yeah, I bet. I don't know what that means. By the time the man moved outside, he had disrobed completely. That's when Anaheim police arrested him. He was immediately removed from the park and taken to a local hospital to be checked out. Police say he was arrested for indecent exposure and being under the influence of a controlled substance.
I knew it.
Exactly. I think this man was high on a mixture of chemicals. He was probably on LSD or shrooms or something like that. Like, he was not just drunk. He was fried.
Yes. You could see the way he's walking around in that video. He can barely, he's not moving. Or like he can barely hold up.
Yes. So I got a couple of videos that I want to play. They're little, TikTok arenas that we can look at and share together, because this is just weird, man. This man is just weird. So this video is saying, when you saw the streaker before the streak, and this is all over TikTok, so you can like find it. But so it's the boat ride. It's in the and of course,
he is still clothed.
The Christmas version of Small World, which is the best version, honestly. I don't know what room they're in, but yeah, so this man's walking in like all black, and he almost looks like a Weird Al from the Eat It movie. I don't know, it's weird. He
looks like a young Howard Stern.
He really does. WNBC. And he's walking along in between the canal and like the set, right? So he's just like walking on the ground. And that's kind of it. And I bet these people on the boat were like, what is this dude doing? And he just looks, he looks like a serial killer.
Yeah.
But he kind of just looked like he was just going around, he's just walking along. And this is another video from when he, turn that down a little bit. So people are yelling. So there's a point in Small World where it looks like a little fountain or whatever. I forget where that is. In the Taj Mahal. Thank you. Yeah. And so he's stepping over the animatronics into like the water, I guess, that runs in front of the Taj Mahal. That's supposed to be that pool. And someone's yelling, "Get off. You are going to get hurt." And he's in his underwear. And he sits in the water and he sits down cross-legged and just casual as you like, puts his hands over his arms like he's just waiting for his best friend to, I don't know. And then he gets up barely. He tries to get out. And he's just walking around. Now he gets out. He's just cruising around. And there he's just disappearing into India. Just investigating. It's almost like he's just looking like for an Easter egg hunt or something.
Well, Small World is a fever.
It really is, dude. And this could not have helped. Like whatever.
So if you're on drugs.
Yes, exactly. Whatever high he was on, this, I would love to know what he was on, what he experienced during this. Because you're right, it is a fever dream. It will mess you up big time. That ride is just bizarre anyway. So here he is again. It's just more of a close-up. I mean, he looks like Richard Ramirez, or you know what I mean? He just looks messed up. Hanging out, can't get around, so he just gets back in the pool. Oh, it's not even real water. There you go. That's right. He's just sitting on the thing.
It's like
And here,
he sat down on that. What bothers me in that scene.
Here's another one. Sorry. So this is him. Now he's walking through the canal moving boats out of the way. And then he just sits kind of on the side. He doesn't know where he's going. He is like just drugged. There's a cast member with a flashlight pointing at him, and he's sitting down on the side and just kicking back, man. Just loving life.
He doesn't seem particularly bothered.
Absolutely not. He's not trying to run away. He's not trying to hide. He's sort of lumbering weird.
Yeah, this is not the walk of a sober gentleman.
No, he can barely move. And like people are just looking at him. I don't know what I would do. But I want to find the picture of him just completely naked.
Yeah, because the underwear eventually came off.
The underwear eventually came off, man. And he's just like out in front. Let's see if I can.
Someone on Twitter commented, "It really is a small world."
Oh, first of all, rude. Second of all, what am I going to say? I feel like you can't talk about it. Where is it?
Well, again, just like the other one. You put it out there, literally, people are going to make comments.
Right, exactly. I wonder what his social media page looks like.
You should send it to that account. Meanwhile, that is not the same action as the breastfeeding. It's a completely different animal.
No. But it's very funny to make the comparison because it's funny.
Surprise, surprise.
When families think they are going to have a nice, normal visit at Disneyland, but a man strips naked on It's a Small World, is what the caption says. And it's just a picture of him. He's just completely naked, and he's holding his underwear over his area. And yeah, he's built. I'm jealous. Anyway, that is what happened. We don't know too much about it other than it happened. And this is probably the most exciting thing that has happened in the parks probably ever, barring any of like the death. I mean, because it's not cool when people die, but as far as excitement level, it's high up there. But this man just streaking. What do you think is going to happen to him, Jeremy?
Well,
give me your thoughts.
I'm sure he'll be trespassed and won't be allowed back on Disney property.
I figure he's banned for life.
Yes.
I figure if the underwear actually came off, because it is hard to see in that photo because there's a big thumbs down emoji over it. I would imagine there's some sort of indecent exposure, exposing yourself to minors kind of thing. Like that's a big, it's not just like, oh, you're just streaking or you're nude or whatever, like destruction of property, being high on a mixture of chemicals in public, but that indecent exposure to minors, I think that's a big charge. If that even ends up happening. I mean, maybe the judge might be lenient and be like, okay, you were on shrooms. You had no idea what was going on. Whatever.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know, but he doesn't. First of all, this guy is a safety issue.
Yes.
He put other people at risk. He put Disney employees at risk. He put himself at risk. And what I really don't like is the way he was, using the animatronics in Small World to hold himself up. That's
Yes.
expensive equipment. I really don't like this guy at all. And also a lot of people were stuck on that ride Small World was shut down for a very, very long time.
Really?
And when you don't have a way to get out, I even have levels of anxiety where if I'm stuck on a ride for too long, I start to really have like a freak out. It needs to be moving. Otherwise I get a little fatutzt. And, let's talk about kids. We talked about our earlier story. The lady needed to breastfeed. Well, what if that happened on this ride, or you needed to change a child, or a number of other things could have happened if you're shut down, and he caused that. So I don't like this guy. I say throw the book at him.
I mean, look, he should go to jail for sure. I don't know. You know what? Maybe just drug rehab. What do you think of that? Maybe you should get him a job. He should be employed at Disney parks. He should be the new Mickey Mouse figure. That's what I think.
Oh,
I don't know. I think it's really funny. I don't know. I think it's pretty funny because but it's also very sad at the same time because he didn't do it on purpose.
How do you know that?
He didn't look sober enough to be able to be, because he wasn't having a good time. His facial expression was very neutral. He wasn't smiling. At one point he's like walking by somebody, kind of like give like a little half-hearted like, hi, how you doing? Or excuse me or whatever. He looked like he was he looked like he was on a quest and he couldn't figure out how to turn in the quest to the NPC in the city. Like he had no idea where he was going. He was lost, and he just sat down. He was tired of trying to figure this out. I don't think he did it on purpose. I don't think it was a joyful thing. I think he was really struggling, and so I do feel bad for him.
Well, don't do drugs when you go to Disneyland. Whose fault is that?
I'm not saying it's not his fault.
If I get too drunk at Epcot and I get told to leave, which has happened, that's my fault.
It is, but I still feel bad for you.
I don't deserve sympathy.
Okay. It's empathy,
I deserve shame.
Okay. All right. I'll throw Mickey ears at you and yell shame as you walk by me.
Yes, do that.
All right. That's all I got on the naked guy, man. That's it. I banned for life. No question.
I have a story that sounds not so good in the beginning, but it's actually a story of gratitude and redemption.
Just the story I just gave you.
No, we haven't seen the redemption yet. I'm hoping for it. I hope he pulls through and redeems himself.
Me too.
His career wasn't pulled out from under the rug when he used his Disney corporate card to buy drugs. A Disneyland employee who spent $24,000 on his corporate credit card to fund a lifestyle fueled by illegal drugs said the Mouse House gave him a second chance after he came clean about his irresponsible splurging. Have you heard about this guy?
Whomst amongst us. I have, yes. I have a little bit.
Taran Sargassian.
Taran?
I know.
What?
It's actually Taron, so I think it's Taran, or I don't know. But I'm calling him Taran.
I would too, man.
Who has since left the company, penned an essay for Business Insider detailing his personal struggles when he started an internship with Disney in the summer of 2024 with the Disneyland PhotoPass team.
You mean 2004?
No, I mean 2014.
Okay.
Did I say 2024?
Yeah.
I'm reading the future.
Yeah.
2014.
Check your company card.
Almost 10 years ago. Sargassian said he was depressed and isolated after coming out as gay to his Armenian immigrant family and that he turned to methamphetamines as a refuge.
Oh, I mean, social pressure and familial pressure aside, like meth, that is, I don't know. That's like I'm learning how to drive. Give me a Lamborghini. That is way out there. That is not small baby steps, not little opiate or anything like that. Not even pot, just straight crystal.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, all right, guys. You got any meth? It's like that's like the first thing you go to.
Yeah, like because you know what I really need when I need to get out of my own headspace and just sort of calm down and mellow out a little bit. Just methamphetamine. Oh, poor guy.
I wonder if maybe he's bypassing the gateway drugs that he blew through. I don't know.
Or there was a history or something like that where maybe he got back on. Maybe he relapsed.
Right. I'm not sure. According to the story, he just sought solace in meth.
Okay. All right.
What he says is he says, quote, as my addiction deepened, my finances didn't reflect the near six-figure salary I earned at Disney. Which I thought he was an intern, but
yeah, right?
They're paying their interns quite well.
He's missing out on a lot of information.
I wonder if maybe he was an intern that then got got an offer at the end of the internship. Most of my money was spent on drugs and on helping out my immigrant family. Now, in an interview following his essay for Business Insider, he clarified one point. Because this is my first question is, how do you use a corporate card to buy drugs? Like, do you take Amex here at this crack den?
Yeah. Hey, Lucky, what's your Square? What's your Venmo?
Yeah. He didn't use the corporate card to buy the illegal drugs. But of course, as we know, money is fungible. So he used the corporate card for his personal expenses like clothing, groceries, dentist, all that. But then having all that on the corporate card enabled him to use the other money directly from his paycheck to buy drugs. He did also add that he was using payday loans. Do you know what a payday loan is?
I mean, it's like an advance on your check, right?
They're short-term, very high interest loans.
Okay.
They're predatory. But they can, if you have terrible credit, but you can get them.
It's so weird. It's almost like the credit industry has created these loopholes to keep people shackled to them.
Right.
It'd probably be better off if we didn't have credit scores for the most part. You know what I mean? That's weird.
Well, I think some people are, I think payday loans are actually even illegal in some states.
Good. It sounds, awesome.
Yeah. But he used the card to get these payday loans and then use the money from those loans to buy drugs.
Wow.
In 2017, he was desperate and took advice from a stranger to just admit the mistake. He says, I was terrified to get fired or to go to jail, but Disney offered me the greatest gesture of love anyone could have shown me. He says, the company gave me a chance to pay it back and left me with only a formal warning. This was a big turning point in my life. He did not admit to his drug problem to his manager. He just said, listen, I've messed up and I've been using this for personal expenses. So Gazan's family gave him a loan to pay it all back. And he said he worked to pay the company back that year. The experience reminded him of his own humanity and the humanity of his employer, he said, explaining that his relationship with his family improved as a result.
Yeah.
Quote, Disney showed me that compassion can be a powerful force to inspire forgiveness and accountability. I learned that without self-forgiveness and accountability, healing from addiction is impossible. Although Sargassian no longer works for Disney, he said he is grateful for the company for, quote, unlocking the power of his imagination and giving him a second chance at life.
Jeez. What a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's a nice story. And he did, in that time period, he did have to spend some time at rehab. And in fact, he went to rehab several times and I guess had relapsed. And then, if I'm remembering the first article I read about it, he had to Google like rehab for corporate people, like because he was missing so much work. And so there was like, he found a way to do it while managing to keep himself employed. And I guess he worked his way from there. So,
wow, that's incredible.
Hopefully we wish him all the best and hopefully all of that is behind him now. But that was his feel good story from Disney.
I like that. I think that's very cool. What I did notice in that article was it's funny because like whenever people are going to, I don't know, tell a story about how they're in a funk or they're helping themselves or they're doing something for their family. If it's an immigrant family, you will know it. It's like if you're a vegan, if you're a CrossFitter, or if you're Italian, you're going to tell people 24/7 that you're all of these things. You could add immigrant family. Like he didn't need to say helping my immigrant family. He could have just said helping my family. But for some reason, he had to like really get pointed like, immigrant family, just so you guys know, I need a little more sympathy here because it's really hard for us immigrants out here. I'm coming from an immigrant family. I would never have thought to have ever said that to anybody. Like, oh, how's your family? Oh, my immigrant family, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you feel I'm a fourth. I don't know. I don't have any personal experience with that, but
I just needed you to laugh at my joke. That's all.
Oh, that was a joke?
Yeah.
I just thought it was a weird observation. Just trying to stay up with you here.
That's all right, man. Well, it's a beautiful story. Good on the Disney company, man. We don't really hear a lot of feel-good stories about Disney. I'm sure there's a lot of people who can be like, oh, he should have been fired and, whatever. Although I wonder if Disney I wonder if that was like a managerial decision or if they give that same sort of leniency to people who do smaller crimes like steal. I wonder if it's like, maybe you should go to rehab for theft.
Well, I wonder also is the punishment depending on, if someone stole and then came in and said, listen, I've been stealing from you and I am going to I'm going to fess up to this.
That's probably
I want to be honest in my, taking accountability. And that's what he said. He used the word accountability.
Yeah.
Does tend to go a long way with a lot of people as opposed to getting caught red-handed. So maybe, he was worried. He probably didn't want to get caught. And so he owned up to it. And there's a lot to say for that.
That's cool. Good on them. Good on him. I'm glad he's clean. I assume. I don't know. Let's see, Jer. There's a couple more stories, but I had a thought experiment that I wanted to share with you.
Oh my word. Tell me.
So let me just clean up here real fast. Tim Allen says Disney has reached out to him and Tom Hanks to reprise Buzz and Woody in a new Toy Story movie, and he asks, is 5 going to be too much?
I thought there already were 5.
No, there's 4. A lot of people thought 4 was too many. 3 was even like, I don't know, it better be good. And it was good. Then 4 was like, ooh, hey, this is wearing thin, man. The window test on this dough is about to snap. And then so I think 5 is going to be too many. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of them. So
yeah, I know. I feel bad for you. I feel worse for you than I do for the guy who stripped naked in Small World. You know,
wow,
depriving yourself of that the generous gift that the Disney company bestowed upon you with the Toy Story franchise. And then here's another story. It's real fast. Just going to blurt out the basics. Disney acknowledges risks due to, quote, misalignments between the company's products and the public that are hurting its bottom line in recent filings with the government. Disney filed its annual SEC report for the year ending on September 30th last week. Anyway, they say we face risks relating to misalignment with public and consumer tastes and preferences for entertainment, travel, and consumer products, which impacts our demand for entertainment offerings and products and the profitability of any of our businesses. And I thought that was a pretty, pretty self-aware thing to say. Because I think it's true. They do miss the mark on what a lot of people are okay with. But the cool thing about Disney fans for the company, is that people are still going to go to the parks. People are still going to consume the thing, just maybe not as much, you know? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Disney's misaligned with what people want, considering Frozen Land and Moana, Journey of Water, and all these kind of things that like nobody's asking for? Planters in Epcot?
Yeah, I do. I think they're terribly misaligned. I mean, I spent 45 minutes on the last episode wailing about this IP nighttime spectacular that is coming to Epcot. They've literally just filled Epcot with planters. It took 5 years to build They took out a dancing fountain and they added in trees. And not only did they add in trees, they took 5 years doing it. And what's really going to get my goat is when, in the coming weeks, when they finally pull all the walls down and open it up, they're going to market this and tell us how great it is. And gaslight me into thinking that it's great. I think they're misaligned in Moana. I think they're misaligned with what they're about to do to Animal Kingdom. These movies aren't hitting. It all seems there seems to be a retrenchment happening in some ways. I mean, like even Bob Iger said, we have to take our foot off the gas but then also they lie to us. They're going to take the foot off the gas with Star Wars, and then they do more Star Wars. So like, I don't know. Like sometimes they just say stuff.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Speaking of just saying stuff, Terrence is in the chat. Hi, Terrence.
He does just say stuff.
Okay, so here's my thought experiment. I was thinking about specifically for you in Disney World, and I'm going to talk about. I talked about it in Discord. I'm going to talk about it on the show coming up on Thursday, which is a history of Mr. Toad's ride, because I think it's just an interesting thing. We've done this sort of thing before, like Armchair Imagineering, but I was thinking about just I don't know, a way to like bring new freshness into Disney World. So you guys don't have Mr. Lincoln, you have Hall of Presidents.
Yes.
Okay. And I know, are you a big fan of that ride, or do you care about it at all?
Not really. I like Mr. Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, because I think these things, the Hall of Presidents, Mr. Lincoln, I think it's one of the attractions that people often point to as sort of taking up space. Like no one really truly cares about them too much. It's sort of like Autopia. Like, yeah, it'll eat people, but no one would miss it if it was gone. And I sort of feel like those areas need a little bit more of a refresh. So what would you do? Let's pretend Hall of Presidents is going away, which honestly, I think it needs to just, I don't know. I don't really feel like it's long for this world. What would you replace it with? Because I'm going to write a letter to Disney telling them this.
Well, first of all, the Hall of Presidents does have to be retired because there's only a finite amount of space on that stage. And eventually there will not be enough room. Like we're going to continue electing presidents. And so
maybe, I don't know.
You're not going to be able to continue to just cram in more animatronics. So they had to think at some point that this couldn't just go on in forever, infinitely. And so I do think that something needs to be there. So we have to think about it. It's Liberty Square. So it has to stay with, it ought to stay along with the theme of Liberty Square. Disney seems to not really care about that kind of thing anymore. But let's assume that they're going to keep it something along the lines of History of America, Colonial Times, Liberty Square. Fine. I think the issue is that the Hall of Presidents, not only is it very similar to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln in Anaheim, but it's also very similar in tone and message to the American Adventure, which is the show at Epcot in the American Pavilion there. So you want to, if you are going to tell the story about America, you already kind of have an attraction that does that. It's also just a movie theater, so it's not that big. Like, you're not putting in a whole thing. So you've got to think about the constraints of the space too. You have to fit something that's basically a stage show, or that can fit into a room with a stage show.
There's animatronics or whatever, right?
There's animatronics on the stage, and it's backdropped by a big screen. It's basically Mr. Lincoln with more animatronics.
Wow.
So
sounds cool. I don't think I went to it because I don't really care about it. Like, I don't really care. I've seen Lincoln like 3 times, and each time it was like, it's really hot. Let's go in here.
Yeah.
Because I don't care.
I kind of like it.
I don't really resonate with that whole, I don't know, with that whole vibe. It's not really interesting to me. Yeah. I don't know.
I like it because I did an episode, a Spectro Time on it, and I loved how they made the music and the techniques that they used to make it sound like you're surrounded by the chorus. Anyway.
See, and this is why I do these shows, is because I like that. I like how things are made. I like knowing how things are made. I like the history behind the things. But I don't know. That's just, and I guess that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it's one of those rides, those attractions that people often talk about when they say, "Hey, let's do a refresh, or let's do a thing, let's pull something out." Well, let's just do this one. No one really cares about it. And like you said, we're going to keep electing presidents, hopefully at some point, and it's just going to get weirder and weirder up there.
I do think, you could keep, it depends on how far away from that attraction you want to go. So you could do baby steps and call it the show, like American Presidential Showcase or something along those lines. There's probably some, they'll call it the Presidential Adventure. And you
wish upon a president, where you tap each one on the head.
Yeah.
You give a wish. Yeah.
Maybe you just select the most, maybe like certain key presidents who were president during pivotal times, like Roosevelt, Lincoln, obviously Washington and a few more, and have them tell the story of the country, or, values or something like that. But then again, that also just becomes the American Adventure show. So I'm not sure.
It's got to be different.
There has been a show that was well received that took place on the outside of the Hall of Presidents. They had like a window up, and it was like a Muppets sort of story, and it was a musical, and it was really funny, and people liked it. And so you actually could think of something to go in there that maybe it's like, colonial Muppets in colonial times, or like pick a story for the Muppets to act out in colonial times or something like that.
That's what I want. Yeah. When I was thinking about this, I'm like, this is what it could be. And I put it in Discord a couple days ago, and that's exactly what I said. I said a Sam the Eagle thing, and Terrence agrees with me. He's in the chat. He says Sam the Eagle. Everyone's agreeing. And I think that would be the way to go. It might be too many Muppets, because Muppets are sort of like, people are lukewarm about the Muppets. You either really love them, or like you could literally care less. And that's why they don't have them anymore in friggin' Disneyland. You know what I mean? You guys have a whole Muppet area. So I don't know if you guys would be too open to it, to more Muppets.
Well, I was over at Hollywood Studios back in May, early May. So it wasn't crowded May yet. And we went into the Muppets 3D attraction.
Yeah.
And there was hardly a seat available.
I love that. I love that show so much.
And it hasn't changed in 30 years. So
that's great.
I think
you don't need to. It's perfect.
I think there's a deep love. Actually, I disagree with you. I think there's a deep love for Muppets in this country. I would say if anything, Disney has ruined the Muppet brand or done everything they can to ruin it. So the problem isn't the Muppets. The problem is that Muppets are in the hands of Disney, and Disney will destroy every property it acquires.
Oh, absolutely.
They did it with.
It will.
They did it to P.L. Travers because Mary Poppins Returns is garbage. They've done it to Star Wars. They've done look at now the Marvels movie that's out. Like they've ruined that. Like it's every single thing they slowly destroy because they Disneyfy everything.
And they do it too much.
A lot of these properties actually are intelligent and clever and unique and have, Disney is not that. Disney does not have any sort of cerebral quality to it. It's very simplistic and sweet and overly saccharine. It's not intelligent. And the Muppets was always really clever and intelligent on two levels. Adults could watch it and laugh. Kids could watch it and laugh. Yeah. Disney does not have the ability to write on both those levels. They just play down to the lowest common denominator. That's why in Frozen, what did she say? She makes it like a fart joke in the middle of that song. It's like a beautiful song. Then there's lovely lyrics. And she's like, even though it makes me gassy, like, it's like they're just so not capable of anything clever.
Well, yeah, that's true. Other ideas from the chat. Thomas is saying a Walt Disney biographical show. Be good.
So that was the other thought that I had was you draw so PBS years ago, they do this series called The American Experience. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where they do these long form documentaries about different individuals in America. And they did a 2-part, 4-hour one called Walt Disney. It is 4 hours of just pure, you're just riveted the whole time. And could they do something in there that is along those lines / Walt Disney Family Museum kind of feeling like, is that, something along that concept, because he is sort of like an American idealist. And
you could easily
what a
do
great
that.
story there. Yeah,
you have animatronics of him at different ages.
Yeah,
and when he's in his 60s, he's coughing through his speech. Pizza Pat says, give Country Bears another show. I would love that. The Mr. P's do lesser known presidents that just have wild stories. I don't know what that means. That's a DJ brain right there. Like imagine if Hoover had a story about, I don't know.
Yeah, he wants to hear
shooting
Millard
cows out of a catapult.
Sexual exploits.
I mean, who doesn't? Here's my thing. You can have two things. You could have president babies where all of the presidents are still up there, but they're just the babies. And so they talk like babies.
No, I hate that.
I wanted to form a country that was wee nice. You can do that. Or you just have Moana and Elsa lightsaber battle.
I don't like any of that.
And I want you to, and then every once in a while a stream of water will come through because, water has memory. So I don't know, man, whatever. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. And it's just, I don't know, it's a cool thing. So I enjoy that kind of stuff.
Thanks.
Oops. Yeah, well, you know what? You're welcome, Jeremy. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on Ears Up in Depth. I will say we are live. You're listening live right now. We're going to be live on Thursday. We're going to talk about the history of the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride attraction in Disneyland. It's my show. I got a lot of good information on that. We are going to be giving away a bunch of stuff. I have actually boxed up over here. There's about 5 or 6 things. I got some Patreon stuff to give away. I got some normal stuff to give away for our social media follows. I think what I'm probably going to do is maybe have on social media, have people write in with their best Christmas memory at the parks or something like that. I want to hear stories from people. Patreon, nice. All you have to do is just sign up. And any number of, $2 is the minimum, I think. And you're already entered in the drawing. So you don't have to, Patreon, you don't have to worry about that. I got 2 really big prize packets for you guys, which is shirts and there's some books and just stuff. I've been collecting stuff. And so it's time to get rid of it. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Jeremy, thank you very much. You did a wonderful job as always. And to you, I say mazel.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to joining the Christmas show.
Me too. I'm excited. Terrence will be there. Terrence, you better show up. I know you will. I'm sure he already has his letter written. and typed up and sent to Santa Iger. That's what we really should do. Is we should really type these up and literally mail these to this man.
Well, mine is mostly making fun of us. So
oh, that'd be fine too. I don't know. Just like deliver it like certified mail. And we know someone
like,
signed for it.
This letter just making fun of themselves. And now that I know that Terrence is gonna be on there, maybe I'll have to throw a few jokes in about it.
Terrence will be there. Bev will be there too.
Yeah. All right. Good.
So it'll be a full show. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And till next time, I want to not have to wait for the music to kick back. There we go. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And till next time, we'll see you.